Focus group to get your feedback on the academic integrity survey results given to the Lee College students and faculty last spring semester. Okay. First, let me explain that this focus group is set up by the Academic Integrity Task Force, and I'm going to share with you the charge of that task force. How long does that take?
So Paul, was I supposed to bring the form?
No, we have it.
Mm-mm.
I need to do it, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Right here, got it.
sorry, that's what you can't, no, that's what you can't put up here. I thought you were turning something in.
Oh, okay.
I've got it right here.
All right, how do I get this to, what the heck? How do we get this to full screen? And it's not even going to the screen. I've never seen this. You ever seen this view before?
Let's try this one. Maybe we did multiple views.
Mm-hmm. Never seen this software before. At least not in this way. Dude. How's that?
I can't tell you anything, and you lost your projection.
I know.
And you're so.
That's back. And so
I'll
you
just
should be
use
able
this.
to-
I'll just use this for now. Normally I should be able to do this. See?
Right.
But it throws up this, oh there. It throws up this funky thing.
It's not projection.
And it's not projecting. So I will just do the normal way.
I think you're over there, Ken.
Oh. Okay. Uh-huh.
All right, now turn their names around, because we know, you know yourself.
Oh, it's only on one side?
Yeah, no,
That was too much.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it was a long day
That's
yesterday.
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. That'll work. Okay. We'll just have to do it this way. All right. So, I apologize about that. The task force's job is basically to, we have 4 different tasks, and that is to review and possibly revise the academic honesty code, procedures, and sanctions to meet the needs of the college. This has not been addressed in over 20 years. Identify any resources needed to refine our procedures, communicate and train personnel on alternative pedagogy and integrity strategies, monitor security of instruction, online coursework, testing, and other situations identified by the team. These could include equipment, software training, and more. As more and more technology, more technological savvy our students are, the more we have to be technically savvy to prevent them from cheating. And to identify the professional development needs of the campus regarding academic integrity, including administration, faculty, staff, and students, and make recommendations for professional development to be included in the 2017-2018 professional development schedule. So that's the charge of the task force, and that's why you're here today. Let's see. We're asking you to participate since you are the experts when it comes to safeguarding academic integrity at Lee College. All right? I'm just reading from the script here.
Good, because it's a stretch.
Well, yeah. Got to butter you up a little bit. Okay. Has anyone ever participated in a focus group before? Okay.
I'm sure I have.
All right. Well, for those, to bear with me as I explain it to those who haven't, basically we are not trying to achieve consensus with a focus group. We're just trying to get everyone's opinion. Okay? We want to learn from you both the positive and the negative. All right? There is no virtue in long lists. We're looking for priorities. Okay? This focus group will last about 2 hours. Feel free to move around the room. The restrooms are outside here, and help yourself to water and snacks. Okay? Now we're going to set up some ground rules for our group today, and some of them, can anyone think of what we might want to do for ground rules? I know, that's kind of a anybody kind of question. Basically, we want everyone to participate, okay? So I'll just write these down. These different rules to kind of help us, because we have a lot to cover, and this will help it be more efficient, hopefully. Well, that's not very helpful. All participate. All right, and how about confidentiality? Okay, and then we have, we're not trying to, no consensus, all right? No consensus, but at the same time, no judgment either. It's kind of like a brainstorming session. Consensus. I have to look down and see how it's spelled. Okay. So no judgment. Everyone has judgments, just keep it to yourself. Okay.
Wait a minute, that's part of why we're here. Our judgments have to be expressed.
How about no side conversations, because it'll interfere with the note taker. Okay.
Ooh.
I know that's challenging with faculty.
Yeah. How about, do you have something down like all value, all opinions are valued?
Yep. And we'll put that with okay. All right. And how about this? Turn off or silence cell phones. And you survive for 2 hours. Okay.
Does that mean that we can't look at it?
What's that? You can look at it. And the last thing, well, two more things. Parking lot. You're probably like, what's a parking lot? What it is we have a lot of stuff to cover. And if we get into a particular topic and someone kind of goes a little off topic, we can put it in the parking lot and discuss it at the end. Okay, that kind of just helps us keep on track. Okay? And then the last one is just have fun. All right? So there you go. So those are our rules for rules of engagement. Okay. Okay. Now you can turn, did you already turn on this recorder?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. All right. So is there any questions before we get started? Okay. All right. So first of all, I'd like everyone to go around the room and introduce themselves and what you want to get out of this focus group. And my name is Paul Arrigo. I'm the library director, and I want to get to and hear your input.
I'm Tom Okuma, I'm a physics instructor, and I'm just interested in academic integrity.
I'm Teresa Latier. And I don't know what I signed up for. And I said yes.
That's very honest.
I said it because it was from the VP. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, and I'm going to say yes this time before I say no next time.
My name is Janice Johnson, Umezaliki, and I work in the nursing department in the associate degree nursing program. And we have, in my field of study, that we have to really watch about integrity
Right.
issues. And so I was asked to be on this committee as well.
Okay.
Jolyn Sully, Writing Center Director. I'm interested in academic integrity and how to watch for maybe the Writing Center without being the police.
Right. That's hard to do, isn't it?
Yes.
We've had one time where we had someone scan what is it? They were scanning someone's license or trying to doctors of something.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
change their paycheck.
Yeah, tried to change their paycheck. and-
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were they successful?
I probably.
Do they work
So, huh?
here? Do they work here?
No. No. It was a public patron. Okay, go ahead, Karen.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow that. Karen Guthmiller in the kinesiology division. I'm on the bigger committee
Mhm.
that has been looking at this for a while. And my purpose, I think, here is to help get input from our faculty on this topic.
Mhm. Joseph.
Good morning, my name is Joseph Kaken with the Business Technology CAT instructor. Wanted to know more on this academic integrity, maybe have some recommendations in it.
Okay. Great. And Gabby?
I'm Gabriella. I work at the library and the interlibrary loans, and I do cover the desk when it
Mhm.
needs to be covered.
And she's here because my secretary is sick today. And so she had to pitch in. Okay.
Like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, 5 pretty much. Okay. All right, so our first question is this. On a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is the least serious and 5 is the most serious, how would you rate the extent of cheating and plagiarism that students commit at Lee College?
Are we supposed to respond vocally?
Yeah, if you want to, and just, Gal, give you some time to think about it. For those introverts, sometimes it takes a while to process. Okay. But if someone wants to chime in, go ahead.
I would claim 3.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is that I think, depending on what kind of assignments you give your students,
Mhm.
that if it's homework / lab, stuff of that nature, writing assignments possibly, they're going to collaborate. And so, but I think that's normal across the country.
Mhm.
I don't think our students do any worse than an average college student does anywhere.
Right, right. So you'd say about a 3.
But they do collaborate.
Mhm.
It's copy in some cases.
Right.
Sometimes I even, oh, sorry. Sometimes I even think that it comes down to their time management, because I think they don't necessarily come in thinking, I'm gonna see how much I can do this, but with all the commitments that they have, or, they'll come in and, I've got 3 tests. So if they have to write a paper for me,
Mm-hmm.
then you might see that, okay, this is just what I'm gonna do. And so
Right.
they make a bad decision
Right.
because of the restraints and pressure that they feel
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't manage their time well.
Right,
And I think
right.
that's where some of the, or in my case, where I've seen some of the actual
Mm-hmm.
cheating and that kind of stuff going on.
Okay.
It wasn't necessarily the intent from the beginning.
Right, right. It wasn't like they were intentionally trying to
so
do that.
I would say 3 too, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
I would say a 3 as well.
Okay.
I was thinking the same number.
Uh-huh.
At the beginning, when students begin their college studies, of course, it is more of a knowledge base. But when you get into the program of study, it's more high application.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And many times they don't know how to apply the subject matter. I mean, there's some students that may and some students that may not.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because they don't know, they don't take the time to do so, then you see a lot of them grasping for,
Right, right.
information or just want to take the easy route out.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I've seen that there's many different cultures that may rely on more getting information from one another
Right, right.
than
Uh-huh.
some. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Or they stick more together, in other words.
Right.
Yeah. And so
Okay.
that's a problem in our area.
Right.
I would say 3 as well.
Mhm.
I think a lot of times it's like from the writing center, we see people don't cite their work.
Mhm.
They use
Mhm.
other people's words, and they don't think that they need to give them credit. They
Right.
change them up and say, well, I made them in my words.
Right, right. Sure.
So I
Uh-huh.
think a lot of it's kind of unintentional, just not knowing how to cite.
Yeah, and do you think is that because they don't understand that that's plagiarizing by rewording it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'd like to think so.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, I agree it's a 3, but I agree totally what Janet said. It's a culture. In some cases, it's uneducated. I think it's time management. It's everything we're talking about that relates to this. And because we have so many younger impact or dual credit students,
Mm-hmm.
that I don't think they've been really introduced to that information soon
Right.
enough that
Right.
we have to then be responsible for more education.
Mm-hmm.
I went through every slide, I've been through it a couple times, and I have a bias. I don't think that the data is reliable for
mhm.
national information compared to
Right.
us. So
Well, the national is old.
yes, it
For
is.
one thing, it's like 2011.
Yes.
Yeah, so the guy who provided me the information originally gave me graduate student the information, and he'd been doing that for years. And I'm like going, we can't compare with graduate students, so he gave me the undergraduate students.
So when you take a graduate student and you're looking at an early impact student,
Right,
I mean,
right.
there's a huge.
But this is
laboratory
actually
understanding.
not graduate students, these are actually undergrads, but, yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, for me, for question number one, it varies every
Mhm.
year, every semester. There's sometimes I've got classes where the students, I could tell that everyone, they're doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
One semester, could tell that, especially on the drawing, somebody just copied, somebody was drawing, they changed the name.
Mm-hmm.
But same date, same time, exactly the same. That shouldn't be a drawing, shouldn't be the same, exactly the same. So it
Right, right.
varies between 1 and 5 every year,
Right.
every semester.
So it depends on the class, is that what you're
And
saying?
that happened one time.
Uh-huh.
There's, actually, it's a father and a daughter. They were
Mhm.
taking my drafting class,
Mhm.
okay? And I look at the father's drawing, and my comment is the same. So when what I did is whatever comment I did on the father's drawing, I put it on the comment on the daughter's drawing. The
Mhm.
next time they have the drawing different, right?
Right, right. Wow. Okay. All right. Anything else anyone want to add? Okay.
You said something about there was national data.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that national data, so.
You will. as soon
It's
as
coming.
it Calls up another slide. 'Cause
Yeah.
There's 27 of them,
Yeah, it's coming.
with different pieces of information.
This is data that reflects the AI environment at Lee College. Is that not large enough? I don't know what I can do to make it larger. So now the options are, what is it, cheating? Now I feel like I'm doing an eye test.
I wanted to add, excuse me, Mr. Paul, I wanted to
Yeah,
add
sure.
about the age of the individual too.
What was-
Age of the student has a lot to do with it as
Right,
well.
right, exactly. And I don't know if-
If you see a younger student, then you might, they're not really.
It would make a difference.
Yeah,
Mhm.
processing things or just want to take the easy way out.
Right. And
That's when it would impact.
Yeah.
right. And the GPA of our GPA was 3.15 of our students that took this. I don't know what the GPA was for the national.
And how many students at Lee College took it?
300 and some.
I think
Mhm.
that's good for us.
Pretty good number. Okay.
I'm surprised by this,
Mm-hmm.
particularly the cheating during a test or an examinations. That there were 44% of them.
Right. But this is asking, how frequently do you think this occurs on campus? Not necessarily that they do. So they're just
But
kind
I
of
think
still a high
cheating is
number.
Pretty prevalent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this is comparing, again, Lee College with the national. Okay. And I don't know why the national is so low. Often and very often. Unless they were just like not very honest.
Well, when I went through this data,
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much just look at us. I mean, what is our perception of ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't as valuable for me to compare it to the national because I didn't think it was as
Right.
accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And because our culture and our age groups are probably so different than what that is. Because I know we had trouble
Mhm.
finding some reliable stuff. I was more concerned about our culture
Right.
here at New College.
And I do have some slides that compare us, the faculty perceptions and the student perceptions. So that surprised you then, the high number of cheating, right, Tom? How about
Do you
I?
differentiate between college versus community colleges?
Mhm. This is undergrads, so it's not community college. No. No, and I told the guy, I said, when are you gonna get me new numbers? And he said, well, when we get another
A
grant.
community college versus a regular university.
Right.
It's all.
This is
together.
all probably regular four-year university.
Oh, for your university.
That's all we had.
Well, the comparison's back, but still the idea that 44%
Right.
perception is
Right.
44% of our
Mhm.
students are going to
And that's pretty high.
cheat on
Yeah.
an exam or test.
Which makes me think that, you know, had they been approached about that? Had there been in a class to where they know other students and they either participated, didn't participate
Mhm.
in it, that makes them believe that the numbers are higher.
Yeah, and it'd be kind of nice to know, it's too bad that this is not like a focus group for students, so you could follow up with, what do you define as cheating? If you're taking a test and you glance over at your neighbor's paper, but you don't really pick up any information to put on your paper, is that
Mhm.
cheating?
Right. Well, we will have a focus group with students. So we're gonna have a focus group for students and administrators. So we'll get that information from them. Okay. All right.
Now, I do
So
believe
just-
the plagiarism in written assignments, because I think if you assign homework and have out-of-class activities that they have to do, drawings, papers, that I
Mhm.
think that's, the 47% doesn't surprise me.
Okay.
The test.
Right. Right. Now, do you see in your classroom that high a rate of 44% cheating on tests? How about you, Janice?
Well, we do a lot of team teaching, so I think
Mhm.
that it also depends upon the professor in the classroom.
Right.
If they're not really structured and
Mhm.
don't really watch the student.
Right.
For me, I'm on that crazy side,
Mhm,
so
mhm.
I pretty much kind of anticipate things that will go on with the nursing student.
Right.
So when I'm proctoring a test,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they usually lock the doors and put the papers, but I'm gonna space every exam.
Right.
One chair in between,
Mm-hmm.
and they come in a line, of course.
Right.
And what I do is I place them.
Mm-hmm.
I say, you're here, you're here, you're
Right,
here, you're
right,
here,
right.
you're here, you're
Uh-huh.
here. Because generally, you know, they all come together,
Mhm.
I would assume.
As a group, yeah.
And just by knowing the students and
Mhm.
really, you know, interacting with one another.
Right.
And so it makes them, they say, well, this is my favorite chair. I say, there's no favorite chair here at Lee College.
Right, right.
I say, so, everybody, well, I do better. I say, no, that's not reality. You
Mhm.
sit here.
Mhm.
And so I'm probably going above and beyond of saying that, but they really don't challenge me.
Right.
They just go ahead and say
Right,
it.
sure.
And
Uh-huh.
so, and so really, I don't really see a lot of cheating when I'm there.
Mhm,
And I'm
mhm.
constantly walking around,
Right.
and your eyes are up and my eyes are on you,
Mhm.
then there's something wrong.
Right,
So we're
right.
constantly looking at each other, and I'll look too, and then
Mhm.
he'll look down.
Right.
And so the structure of the environment has to be very tight.
Sure.
So I don't really see that with me.
Mhm.
Now, I have students that come to me where other professors have monitored, and they may not be as structured.
Right.
And they say, well, she had this or she had that. You see,
Mhm,
those kinds of things. So
Okay.
again, it depends.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. We're going to go to the next one because we have a lot to get to. Okay. And this one's a comparison between the students and the faculty.
So that's that question.
That's question. It's still question 2. It's all part of question 2. Sorry. No, it's all part of question 1.
Okay.
Sorry. You can turn the page over if you want to. See, we've already done that. So, any surprises here?
Well, the first and the last are kind of
Yeah.
strange.
Mm-hmm.
Does it mean that our students are so uninformed that they don't know how to cheat when they're taking the SSA course compared to the national average?
Right, right,
Well, these are students and faculty.
right. This is there's faculty perception
Oh, I'm sorry.
and the students' perception. Yeah.
The students don't think they cheat and the faculty do, but not a high percentage.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think this is like. Yeah. Go ahead.
probably how they're defined by each faculty, look at it differently.
Mhm.
We've been doing it for a while. I think students look at it either because they're uninformed or they have the wrong point of view. I mean, they obviously are different because I think they don't know what's the right procedure in some cases. I thought that was, the first one was really funny when I first looked at it, to see the unauthorized help. Faculty thought maybe so, students, well, they must think, that was okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't think it was bad.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
kind of what I think
Uh-huh.
sometimes is they have this different perception.
Right, right. Definitely.
Same thing with the last one, I agree with Tom.
Mhm.
You know.
Well, I think maybe why, you know, professors think that, because some programs, a student can actually press any answer, or they can just press a wrong answer, and they don't know what the answers are, and go back and take the test.
Right.
So we have a lot of problems like that in our area. So
Right.
I think that's why, it's still off, but I think that's why some professors feel that way, because we know that they can actually, you know, trick the program.
Right, right. Okay. All right. The next one. Okay, this is the next one. And that's a comparison between the national students again. And this is a multiple choice question.
I still find that curious.
Yeah, I don't know if the
The national, I mean,
it's not really adding up. I'm gonna have to, we'll have to
Yeah,
discard that one.
when I tried
We'll have to
take
discard
out
that one.
National and just look at what legal
Yeah,
knowledge
yeah,
is.
exactly.
Because we
Mhm.
could be here debating that all day.
Yeah.
I want to know what we need to do.
Right.
well, it seems like on this slide in the previous middle two categories is this may be something that the instructor, the online instructor needs to be very specific. And
Mhm.
they have to be a timed exam so that they don't have an opportunity
Right.
to search the internet to find an answer, then answer the question.
Right,
Or not multiple opportunities to take the same exam.
right.
And that may be something that's part of our responsibility in education, because our exams, you know, we use in our area are timed,
Right.
and they're randomized. So if
Mhm.
we do give them 2 tries, it shuffles the
Right.
questions. So I think you're right. I think it's the education of how do we make this better for
Mhm.
us
Mhm.
and not induce this temptation to cheat.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
clarification within the instructor's part,
Mhm.
because
Yes.
it says use notes or books on a closed book on a, did it specifically say that do not use material?
Right.
Because
Right.
it's timed.
Right.
But they will, if you know your
Mhm.
information, go through, and I tell them specifically,
Mm-hmm.
go through and do what you know. The rest of the time that you have, okay, look up the ones you have questions about.
Right,
You
right.
don't know it all.
Uh-huh.
If you know, I mean, it's 4 chapters. If you know your chapters well, you
Mhm.
know exactly where to look. My idea is I want you to know the information, and if you don't know, reread it. Find
Right,
it. You know,
right.
The test is the
Mhm.
test. And I can do so many other things than a test, but I do.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I specifically tell them they can go back. Some instructors may not, so they feel that I'm cheating if I'm
Mhm.
looking in the book, even though there was not a clarification of do not.
Right.
Or do.
So you're saying that it could be a matter of the differences between,
Interpretation.
or the differences between the instructors they
The
have,
administration of the test.
and they get confused.
Yeah, because I do tell them
Yeah.
look in your book. But
Yeah.
if I didn't,
Mm-hmm.
and they're looking in their book,
Mhm.
would they feel they're cheating?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Then-
So you could say that. So you're saying that students are confused because this
Well-
person, this faculty member lets me do it, so why can't I do it for this
Yeah, I
one?
don't know confusion, but just
Manipulate.
right, and it's your
Uh-huh.
syllabus
Right.
and that because.
Right.
It depends upon the discipline too, because for
Correct.
nursing,
Mhm.
we don't allow that, you know,
Right.
so they have to know the information.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
I don't know if it's within all disciplines, so it's gonna
Right.
Right.
vary, yeah.
Right.
It varies between, because I teach an online class, and a person who prepared the class, I got designated with the online class is to prevent cheating.
Mhm.
It's open book.
Mhm.
They have to, they read the chapter and they
Mhm.
just have to look around what's the answer on the multiple choice. So you're not going to ask somebody what's the answer. They just have
Right.
the answer is on the textbook. They just have to look for it.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently that's to prevent cheating.
Right. Okay.
It's been a long time ago. Open book tests used to be very hard. You know?
Right, yeah.
So,
Even-
it depends.
Yeah, like on my descriptive geography
Yeah.
class, it's open book, but
Uh-huh.
some of the answers it's there, but
Right.
majority of the answer it's not there.
Mhm.
It's not
Mhm.
very
That's
fast.
Like you have to add it. It's not there. The answer's not there. You have to use a calculator
Mhm,
to figure out the
mhm.
answer.
Yeah, I always hated open book tests because
Yeah.
then you never know when to quit.
Right.
That was my problem.
And they'll talk about minor scenarios, lots of
Uh-huh.
them. You know, what would you do, what teaching strategy, whatever it may be.
Right.
And so I'll walk into class, and because they get a take home
Mhm.
test, and they'll be talking about it. Okay, I'm kind of excited.
Right.
You're talking about and having debates about which strategy you think is best, and they don't agree.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll, okay, I'm going to go with this one. I'm going
Right,
to go with this
right.
one. And then when they get them back, it's like, oh, you guys were right.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Uh-huh.
and, you know, they do some persuading when we think it's, oh, that's pretty good. I think so. I'm not so being open book with scenarios, like you said, the answer's not there, but I really like that they're talking, but
Right.
they're scared. When I
Right.
walk in, they're like, okay, let's talk about it.
Uh-huh.
Which number? What are you talking
Right,
about? And
right.
we discuss it and talk it without necessarily giving an answer. But
Right.
I like that.
Yeah. Good.
But that's just, you know, my discipline.
Sure. Okay. All right, next one is this, actually not question number 2. We're just going to go through some data asking the following questions. Do students and faculty understand the policy's provisions? Are they supportive of its requirements? And does the survey results suggest that Lee College policy effectively communicates that importance of student honesty? Okay. And here's the first set of data with the following 2 questions. How well do faculty or students understand the policy? And are either group supportive of the policy's requirements?
What we have here is a failure to communicate.
Yes, exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, this is encouraging.
Yeah.
Students seem to be well
There,
informed.
Right,
Stuff
right.
Exactly, then the
Uh-huh.
That's why I'm laughing.
Well, you got to remember the students that filled out this were at a 3.15. Okay, so they're going to be the ones that are going to be harder on everyone than if we had included, you know, other C students.
They don't know there's a policy.
Right, right. So,
I wanted to just, in reference, is this full-time faculty or part-time faculty or just?
that I don't know. All I know is we got like about 60 responses, something like that. So,
You know,
Wow.
so looking at how long the faculty's been at the college too as well,
Mhm.
to really understand.
let me write those questions down.
I'm a little puzzled about this last group. Student support of these policies.
So is that implying that the students support academic integrity policies, but the faculty don't support, or don't think the students support? What does that column mean?
It's just,
The way I read it was
Yeah.
that, do the faculty really know what the policies are? And that means, do we know how we proceed it, and do we report it first to the division chair? That's how this all kind of started, because
Mhm.
Dee Dee had some issues when she was acting in the
Right.
API. And she said, you know, we don't even have any processes that are clear. They had to deal with something way up at their level that didn't have a process from the division level to the dean level, then to the VPI level. And so I think what that reflects is that there are some faculty that probably aren't certain if things have a process. That's kind of what we thought when we looked at it the first time. Students think there's a process,
mm-hmm,
and so that's a good thing.
right,
But faculty, and it may be by discipline, you have a very strong procedure. Maybe other areas do, but we find that there are faculty that aren't certain what happens. Do I document everything? What do I document? Do I turn that into my division chair? That's kind of the stuff we were hearing, so it's more of
mhm.
a lack of processes. That's what I'm thinking.
Or perhaps
And
Or confidence in
The
the,
faculty don't know what to do.
It
Yeah.
just sort of implies that, supposedly students have a student handbook. It's mostly online. Or it's all online. I mean, supposedly faculty has a handbook. I don't know where in the world you can find it. Online
It
or
became the
otherwise.
employee handbook, I think, and that's
there's a
why
faculty
it's
handbook,
not
but hasn't
clear.
been updated since 2015.
But every division also has a handbook too,
Mhm.
and student handbook, so.
Right.
We don't.
Yeah.
No,
Our
your
we
division
do.
probably
Ours
does.
do.
Yeah.
Ours do. And so, yeah.
So
Mhm.
I think part of that's not educating the faculty on an ongoing basis because they don't ever look at a handbook because there's not a handbook to look at.
Mhm.
That's why this.
Not a
also-
current one.
And so they're supposed to bring to the job an idea of what academic integrity is.
Mhm.
And that's probably in the distant past.
Yeah, I
And if
agree.
they had a handbook, they still don't read it, so.
Yeah.
So I see that
Well-
all the time, so,
Well,
because you
if-
have to document where that is and follow through if a student is cheating. And some people want to be nicer, some people want to just be, to the point, follow the rules, and those are the rules.
Some of the faculty's narrative responses on this were that they got frustrated that the administration didn't support their, what do you call it? That nothing really ever happened. So some of the faculty didn't feel like it was worth their time, but
And
That was just a
true.
couple,
That's-
huh?
Yes, that's true.
mhm.
That's true. I've seen
So-
situations.
right.
Where that's happened.
Right, so some people didn't have the confidence in the procedure, not necessarily that the procedure wasn't there, but that they didn't have trust in it. Okay, let's see. So another question is, why do you think the students consistently rank themselves higher than faculty do?
Part of it is because you have a very select group of students.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
If you have a 3.12 whatever GPA,
Mm-hmm.
those students may be actually worried about maintaining good grades.
Right, exactly. And that's the
If you take
median.
a group of 2.0 students, that may not be the case.
Mm-hmm,
We
mm-hmm.
see different data.
Right. Okay. Go to the next one. Okay, here's the next set of data. Again, this is students versus faculty.
Am I the only one that can't read this?
It's difficult. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let's see if I'll try to mess with it and kind of get it larger.
Hey, can you go from parent slide? It may blow up a little bit.
What's that?
You go up to the
Oh, okay.
parent slide.
Just because
Oh,
that's
it's not
usually,
there.
That's part of the problem.
Oh.
yeah.
And the sources, right?
What do you mean source?
It says HDMI is your source.
It's I don't know, what do you mean?
On the bottom, it says, is your source HDMI or is it computer or is it a different source?
No, they're running an HDMI.
Yeah.
It is HDMI?
Mhm.
Okay.
They don't give us much. Yeah.
No, they don't. They are not running an HDMI cable because this
It
computer
is.
doesn't have HDMI.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
So
It doesn't have HDMI, so it
Okay,
can't
so
run.
it can't run, so your source is not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry.
Did you want to change?
We'll change the PC.
What's that?
We'll change the
Change
PC
the
as your
PC.
source.
I
Yeah.
can try that. I'll use this.
Yeah.
That's what you mean by source. I was thinking like.
Yeah.
I think it's just doing BGA.
Is it?
Input. Wait,
Yeah, I don't know what mine
that's 80 HDMI. That's not what we want, right?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Computer one, computer two, or.
HDMI is usually when I watch television, right?
Well, it's just-
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
yeah, it
certain-
is, yeah.
Yeah, or-
Well, come on. Should we do computer one?
Did you have it on computer one?
I don't know what I had it on. I think it was on H.
HDMI, so it was on, right?
Yeah,
But,
it's not
Too
that.
many choices.
I know, I know.
I think
Golly
that
gee.
Would you stop?
Yeah.
It's not letting me. Okay, come on.
It's searching.
I know. Come on, let me get back there. Oh, stupid thing.
So this has only been the first, only site we have.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll just have to go with that.
There's a couple of,
Yeah,
there's
I
Uh-huh.
just wanted to enlarge the
Yeah,
text.
help yourself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
a
those are-
disturbing thing on the left, I think.
Yeah,
And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if the students have a good, the previous slide or two
Sorry.
slides ago, said that the students were pretty much aware of the academic integrity policy. But now it's saying that they don't think it's fair,
right.
and that's pretty disturbing.
Who's saying it's not fair? Students?
59%.
Well,
Yeah.
either student
Yeah.
or faculty, but
Uh-huh.
we can
Mhm.
discount faculty because they weren't aware of the policy. But the students seem to be aware of the policy, and they don't think that the process is fair. And that really needs further investigation.
Mm-hmm.
And on the previous slides, it said for the students were saying they had
Okay,
higher
yeah.
numbers on that they've seen
Oh,
people
yes.
cheat or do that. But yet on the last
Mhm.
one, do you
Mhm.
feel it's a serious problem? They
Right.
still only 21%. Yet
Mm-hmm.
earlier on, they thought quite a bit was going on.
Wow.
Oh, I think too much, okay.
They do like 120 or something, see that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of good they say that cheating
Mm-hmm.
is not a serious problem at my school. You know, the faculty don't say that they're not vigilant themselves.
I was looking at that, too, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, unless they're like saying, "Well, I'm vigilant, but everyone else isn't."
Mm-hmm.
And I would think the third and fourth are really disturbing. So we have this mismatch between the faculty perceives that their assessment instruments are, mostly probably tested, however their grades are determined, are adequate. And even though it's not a huge difference, the students think quite a bit less. I'm not sure what assessment types they think would work, but
Maybe,
certainly not what the faculty is thinking.
well, maybe these students. This is just a guess that these students have been tested to death. You know, they're the students that have all the, what do you call it, the assessments. You know, the tests, the STAR tests, and all that stuff. Maybe they're just tired of it. But that's not reflecting anything about Lee College.
Okay, wait a minute, I guess I'm misunderstanding. On the assessment types, are you talking about external tests such as STAR, or are you talking about course?
No, course ones. So what I said could be totally irrelevant.
Is it talking about assessing the way they learn?
I think it was just that the assessment that they use in the class, does it help them to understand the concepts better?
Do we have a reasonably good idea what a student think an assessment, what students think assessment is?
Yeah, see, they may not even know what it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, let me move on to the next one. Okay. This one is, how would you rate and then you rate all these different ones here.
Would you,
Yeah.
lower it just for a minute so we can see what
Sure.
the question is? No, I'm sorry, raise it.
Raise it.
Excuse me. Okay. So you can go back.
So,
Yeah, again, I think that again, it's a lack of really having good data.
Well,
I
with this,
I would think that, well, I mean, I don't know if I really believe that our students have a higher rate of cheating. When I look at the student support of it, student understanding.
well, the whole box area implies to me that our faculty just isn't aware of the policy and the process. And so
Mhm.
that leads
Right.
to the differences
Right.
between what we think
So,
are
yeah.
national.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And a lot of it-
National faculty have a defined faculty handbook that has those policies and processes
I
spelled
think
out
there's
there.
a huge difference between a community college and a university. Totally.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And your division's
Right.
there, and you have those procedures in place.
Mhm.
So I agree. I think we really don't have enough education, or we don't have a process in place that everybody's aware of.
And if you look at our charge for the task force, it was a lot of it had to do with education.
Yes.
Okay, so as I've looked through, we have a lot of what they say we should have. It's just a matter of people. It's not on everyone's front, topic. For instance, we have it in the syllabus, a paragraph, with a link, but do the students click on that link? No, probably not. Do the faculty? No, probably not. But at the orientation yesterday, we covered it, for the new faculty. So,
But you'd have to go online to get the syllabus to
Right.
click, and the students
right.
aren't
Mhm.
gonna.
Yeah, exactly. If you give them a printed one, they're not
Right.
gonna go any further.
But we did have people that were on our committee
Mhm.
that said they actually did click on it and went through it the first day of class. So
That's good.
It's over,
Mhm.
different disciplines what
Right.
they do. And I was like, wow, that is
Mhm.
awesome.
That is
Went
that is
right to
awesome.
the front, the first day of class, and
Mhm.
I had it up on the screen and said, just want to cover this, because they didn't think they would click on it.
Right.
So I was impressed.
That's really good.
And that's what I do when I head a class, I make sure we go through all of these procedures. Also, when new students come in and we have the orientation day, all of this is covered as
Mhm.
well with the
Okay.
new group
Right.
all together. Now, if they remember it, that's a different thing, but
Mhm.
it's covered.
Right. Exactly. And a lot of it's just an emphasis.
It's a bad idea to have eventually for us to create a checklist.
Right.
Faculty just make certain you do this, this,
Mhm,
and this. I mean, it doesn't
mhm,
have to be a lot of
mhm.
things, but
Exactly.
I think I'll definitely click on it.
Yeah.
And go over a few things.
I think some technology change so we can see it.
Mhm,
Because you
mhm.
can't, if we go on the internet, everything says you can't, and you blow it
Yeah,
up,
that-
you gotta
yeah.
go back and forth,
That's
you
gonna
can't,
change.
that'll change that.
So we're still on number
Would you also
2.
point
Yeah.
out something that
Just let you know.
difference in
data
a lot of
3?
faculty?
We're on
If
2
you give them
still.
a printed syllabus,
Hmm?
On
and it'll
data
have all
3?
these links
Yeah.
on it, of course, you can't do anything with it because it's a printed syllabus, then if you want the faculty to cover this, then they may have to show an electronic syllabus, so
Right.
let's refer the students to it and then use it in their first day of instruction, so that they can, the students can see, well, I could actually click on this and I know where to find the electronic copy.
And that's
Mhm,
probably part
mhm.
of our
Right.
focus,
Right.
recommendations.
And we put our syllabus in Blackboard too, so they
Right.
can
Mhm.
go ahead to it, but the requirement that I make sure students do, they bring a copy of it. So
Right.
they can actually underline whatever is important,
Right.
instead of going online to
Mhm.
do that. And they keep it in a notebook
Right.
at all times.
Okay. All right. Next one is this is actually what the students do themselves. This is gonna be difficult. There's the questions again. Oh, sorry. Is academic integrity policy communicated effectively? That's the question asked here. And this is frequency of specific behaviors that the students selected, of what they do.
And what's the blue and red?
That's the one where it's less than 80%.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
Are we
Huh?
looking at national?
National.
Oh, this is
Students
this
and
is
college
again
students.
national.
Blue and national red.
Yeah,
Okay.
right, sorry.
oh, brown or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, go ahead.
Mr. Paul, you can pull
Yeah.
that line at the bottom and pull it to your left,
Okay, yeah.
to the right. Pull it, okay. And that way.
There we go. So this is number 4. You see any trends there?
I was just looking at the blue,
Mm-hmm.
and seriously, it's pretty consistent across.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is.
But this is consistent with their previous answers.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So one thing I noticed was that all the blues, most of the blues are higher than the national,
Mhm.
which is, yeah. Which might make more sense because we have community college students and the other pool is undergrad.
Yeah, the only one that's higher, as was pointed out, is cheating on a test in any other way.
Mm-hmm.
But I looked at all the bars,
Right.
and they're all pretty
Mhm.
consistent.
They're pretty consistent. Okay. All right, well, I'm going to move on to the next one because we have more to do. Okay, so this is the frequency of specific behaviors. And this is looking at Lee College faculty versus, this is the faculty's perspective versus the national faculty.
Copy electronically in other students.
Wait, what's that, Joseph?
There's one that stand out, the one, the national,
Uh-huh.
copying another student, electronically.
Right, right. Mm-hmm. Huge difference.
Is that a sophistication level of our students?
I don't know. Yeah. Which I'm trying to figure out which one are you talking about?
The one that red is way
Well,
higher.
When it's way higher than the other one?
Much higher.
Okay.
I think that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So, because I know at the upper levels, they talk about paper purchasing or someone
Mhm.
taking
Yeah,
Mhm.
paper for them.
Right.
Is that what turning in paper obtained from TERM? The
Yeah,
national
yeah,
average is
uh-huh.
also higher? Is that where
Yeah.
you can purchase your papers?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Which you don't know how much have been.
Yeah, hopefully our students are still pretty naive yet.
Yeah. or they don't have a lot of money, you know, to pay for a test. Okay.
Now, if this is faculty grading this, is the faculty aware that, or are they looking to see if it has been purchased somewhere else? That's another thing, it depends upon the person
Mhm,
grading
mhm,
it.
right.
They have systems where they can go in, you can see if it has been found somewhere else.
Right, right.
Or is everyone using those systems?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We do that in English,
Mhm.
but I don't know if we do it, I guess we do it in social sciences too.
I think part of the conversation, again, from our group was that in Blackboard, we'll have
Safe Assign.
software that all papers should be run through, like Safe Assign.
Safe Assign.
And
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's our intent, is that we can
It's a 10.
educate ourselves about the options
That
we
says
have
10.
for
Okay.
papers that are, and we talk about Blackboard because
Mhm.
I think that's where all will have access. So we did talk about that because we noticed this. And I think that's something we just, again,
Mhm,
need to
mhm.
make certain, just like people didn't even have a grade book in Blackboard.
Right.
you know?
Right, right.
And now
Mhm.
we're at a point where we should be submitting
Mhm.
everything through there. And one of the suggestions was having software, maybe even better than Safe Assign, but because the upgrades of Blackboard are having more of those tools.
Right.
But I can also, I mean, within that, I can hire someone to write the paper for me.
Right,
That
right.
isn't already
Uh-huh.
out there that corrections to
Mhm,
do. I can do
mhm.
that as well.
Right.
on-
Or have a father or a
Mhm.
mom that writes my papers for me.
And it depends upon the paper, because in nursing, we have
Right.
papers based on patients, you see.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
Yeah.
it's hard to
Right.
use this kind of program.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Did you have anything to add, Jolene?
No, I was just thinking about there's no consistency really in the English department as
Mhm.
far as what instructors do when they find these behaviors. You know, one
Yeah.
may do something and they give a 0, but it really never goes any farther than that.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
So it looks like consistency within a department would be a good place to
Mhm, mhm.
start.
Yeah.
Well, our department, if the patient, if the student fails a paper, we have a policy that they have to redo the paper.
Mhm,
We don't give them, we give them comments, but it's very broad.
mhm.
But when they redo it again, that they can only make a 74.5.
Right,
They cannot
right.
make better than a student that turned
Mhm.
in and passed it.
Right.
And so that, and sometimes that is a consistency, but again, it's the
Mhm.
faculty making sure that the
Right.
rules are what it is. 'Cause
Right.
I'm very good at pointing it out.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
so, yeah, so they won't be getting a lawyer or anything.
Right, right. Okay, good. All right, next question. Well, we'll see if it's a question. This is how serious do they think this has to do more with their values. Again, are we effectively communicating it? Let me get this centered. And this is against the national students again. How serious are these violations?
Using false excuse to obtain extension.
What's that?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Which one was that?
Using a false excuse to obtain an extension.
Right, yeah.
And that's something that I think students nowadays don't think is cheating.
Well, and actually it was interesting, the faculty result on that, they ranked that the least serious, because they can catch it, you know. They know when your third grandmother has died,
Yeah.
that there's a problem.
And I'm not surprised at all with the copying a few sentences from a written source, copying from electronic sources
Mhm.
about it, and some of that
Right.
without putting
Mm-hmm.
carelessness to time to not knowing, or I don't know if not knowing is it, but
Mm-hmm.
just
In the comparison between Lee and National, I think here's where there's a number of these things where if we don't compare with other community college students, we
Yeah.
don't see a difference.
Right.
Because if you compare to undergraduate,
Exactly.
their junior and senior level courses,
Mm-hmm.
then plagiarism becomes really a big no.
Right, right, definitely.
It's monitored much closer
Mhm.
by faculty, and so it's a big difference there.
That's a good point.
And freshman, sophomore, maybe not so much,
Mhm.
like our students.
Right. Yeah, that's why I was well, this is the only data that we were provided.
Yeah.
So I did tell them, I said, you know, you guys need to update your information and try to get a
It could be
different.
freshman, sophomore anywhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be just community
Exactly.
college.
Right. You know, I could have asked, I never thought about that. I could have asked him to parse it out. You know, so I might be able to do that. Although we're running out of time. Okay. Okay, next one is, wow. That one's a lot bigger. Okay, so this is question 3. Which parts of the Lee College academic integrity policy are either effective or ineffective? And can we tell that as from the data? And do we even know what the parts are?
Can you scroll just a little lower?
Sure. So it goes up.
Yes.
This is medium through very high.
Okay.
So in terms of the severity of penalties, I just think that has different within different divisions.
Mm-hmm. Different
Lot-
penalties.
Right,
Mhm.
understanding of what can
Yeah.
or can't be done. I mean, that's,
And the first two groupings on the left doesn't seem to jive with the fact that our faculty seem to be unaware of the
Mhm.
policies and
Right.
procedures.
Mm-hmm.
And on this one, it seems like, maybe 6% is pretty darn good.
Yeah. I put, perception, it wasn't conclusive to me when I looked at it, because obviously faculty support a policy.
Right.
They may not know what it is,
Mhm.
the understanding. That's why I thought that was kind of an interesting outcome for those two, the first two that we're looking at. But as far as the effectiveness and understanding and all that, I think it's not conclusive. I think
Mhm.
there's just too many inconsistencies across the campus and divisions. But
Right,
that's what
right.
it told me, is that we do have a policy we support.
Mhm,
Right.
mhm. But it's not
But we
clear.
don't- It's not clear.
Yeah. I'd say that's about pretty accurate. Uh-huh.
Oh. I think we were trained to say that.
Mhm, mhm. Okay. All right. Okay. We're asking the same question. Which parts of Lee College academic integrity policy are either effective or ineffective? And these are the questions, and this time I rated it high to very high. And this is Lee College students versus national students. Now, if you don't agree with the national students, then just ignore that and just look at the percentages of the blue.
I was concerned that the effectiveness was low when you compared to how the Lee
Mhm.
College students support it. They didn't think it was
Right.
effective, maybe it was because of the outcome.
Mhm.
But the fact that, of all the students that took this, half of them support it,
Mhm.
and a little over 60%. It just, the severity is hot, they think it's 70%, but did they support it? I wasn't certain if they understood
Mhm.
it, but obviously they didn't think it was effective.
And remember, these are the
The good students.
The good students.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Maybe because they're angry that the other students are getting away with it. Arr, have to do the hard work. Okay. All right. Okay, the next question is question number 4. According to the data, how well are the students and faculty informed about the sanctions posed for academic misconduct? That means, now, to let you know, the sanctions are officially in the policy. For if you're caught cheating for the first test or assignment, you get an F on that assignment. And then if you get caught again, you get an F for the course. Okay, so there's not this varied, other systems that other places use. So that could lead to some confusion if different divisions are doing it differently than what's said in the policy.
And that's true, because we don't do it that way. If you part cheating as a 0 and possibly dismissal.
Right, yeah, exactly. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this one is students versus faculty, and we're asking Are the students supportive of the sanctions, and how well are they informed? And I guess the same thing for the faculty.
So that's data one. Question 4.
This is question 4. Data
Question-
1. No, this is yeah. Data, go ahead and question 4.
Question 4 of data one.
Yeah, of data 1.
Okay.
But it still shows that the faculty are not understanding what's going on here. They're lower than the students, so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is different than the slide before because the student support of the policy wasn't the same. On this one it is. That's what threw me. That makes sense?
Yeah, let's say no, but I'll have to go back. Is the percentages the same or different?
See, the informed part,
Right.
so maybe because they're not informed,
Possibly.
it leads to the second one, which they didn't think it was fair? How would you read that, Tom?
Well, go back to 17, Paul.
Sure.
See, I would think that the first 2 columns or sets of data indicates that students think we understand the policies.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last 4 sets of data indicates that the faculty probably don't understand the policy. That's what
Yeah.
all the data before indicated too.
Right, right,
Or not
okay.
aware, they
Right.
don't understand
Yeah.
something.
Uh-huh.
Not aware of the policy, but the students think we are.
That's what
Mhm,
I
mhm.
thought was a theme.
Right. So that means we need more instruction of the faculty. Or to the faculty or something like that. Is that what you're thinking?
I
Okay.
think the faculty need to be aware of the academic integrity policy
Mhm.
process that it goes through.
Right. Okay. Another thing is that student affairs has never according to them, no student has ever reached the appeal process. So in other words, because the faculty have done their homework. So
Wait,
In other
we've
words-
never reached the appeal process.
well, in other words, that they appeal up to the, above the vice president of instruction to like the, whatever that board is.
There's an appeal board.
Yeah, there's an
above
appeal
them.
board.
There's an appeal
Have you
board
been,
above
are you
them.
a member of that?
I don't even know who's on that.
Mhm.
That's above them,
Right.
but it's never been used.
That's what,
I don't
that's
know
what we
who's
were
even
told.
on it. So it's reviewed again
Right.
before even, and is the president on that?
I don't know. I think that might be the last stop, but
And that would be something for us to know.
Mhm.
I don't even know who's on that.
yeah, I don't either.
Maybe no one, if we haven't had to do it.
I know. Uh-huh.
But I know
So-
the last issue that was resolved, that was a big time one, was between Danetta and Dee Dee. So
Mhm.
we had 2 vice
Right.
presidents
Right,
okay, dealing with it, student
Mhm.
affairs and instruction.
right.
And so it didn't go any farther than there. But there's
Mhm.
supposedly another level above that.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know about
that's
that.
only if the student
If the student appeals.
appeals.
Over them.
Right. Right, only if the student appeals.
Of that, did the student,
I don't know, I don't know. I wasn't sure.
Well, they were able to, I think they were able to make resolve it before, because they sided with the students.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. Things had to be changed.
I mean, we've had a lot of
Mm-hmm.
things in our department.
Right.
Unfortunately, the faculty is not privy to
Mhm.
that
Right.
outcome, and that's the
Uh-huh.
bad thing,
Mhm.
because then you don't know how to react if this happens again.
Right, exactly.
So I don't know if there's a policy that
Mhm.
states, hey, we all need to be told that this is a problem and
Right.
we're going to do that if this
Right.
comes up.
Well, supposedly the vice president of students is supposed to monitor how many times it's happened for one particular person. So if it happens a second time, then they're supposed to, wave the red flag. Yeah. So, but it really, according to Donetta, it's never gone past that, to that appeals committee. So, but there are institutions that actually document that and make it public. That this has been challenged, this has been challenged, this has been challenged, just so you have some idea of what's going on.
Right.
Because otherwise it's just the whole, and they don't say the person's name, they just say what the case was, and they didn't even say that, they just said an appeal or whatever. And that's kind of helpful. Okay. Okay, next one. So this one is, again, how supportive are they of the sanctions? If so, how, and are they well informed? How strongly do you agree with the following statements? And let's see what the options were. And I pulled out agree and strongly agree. Again, this is Lee College students versus national students. I'll pull it over to the right a little bit. Oops. Actually, turn left. Do you see a trend at all with this data?
There's a contradictory.
Yeah,
Mhm,
investigating cheating is fair.
What's that?
Yeah. Investigation of suspected cheating is fair.
And then it says, I'm assuming this is assessments effective in evaluating my level of knowing course content or understanding, which didn't we see in an earlier one where they didn't feel, because we talked
Right,
about, well, do they
right.
know what assessment
Yeah.
is?
Right,
That's
right. They won't know, yeah.
different.
They won't know what assessments are necessarily.
Because here it's high,
Uh-huh.
here it's low.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, same thing with the next one, right? Course content. So those
Yeah.
are the same questions. Here
Uh-huh.
it's high at Lee College, but before it wasn't.
That's weird.
And if no one's understanding the policies, how can investigation of suspected cheating is fair if they don't understand it?
Good question. Maybe because they've never had to deal with it,
Yeah.
Because they're good students, so they're probably like, well, it's fair because
Yeah, that's true.
it doesn't affect me. So since they don't have a stake in it, maybe that's what it is.
Generally I've seen that good students, if they know that cheating could be going on,
Mhm.
they really want to make sure
Right,
that everything
right.
is
Mhm.
together. So,
That's true.
I mean, in our discipline.
Right,
so.
right.
The second column, or the second set of data, I think is interesting, because it still gives the perception that they don't think cheating is a serious problem. To
Mm-hmm.
them, 21, it's at an acceptable level.
Which is this, I think 21 was the same number earlier.
Mm-hmm. It was same number. Okay. All right.
The two that always threw me was course assessments help learn course concepts.
Yeah.
That I didn't know how to interpret when I saw
Well, from the
that.
last one, how has their view of assessment now changed from when they answered the first one and said, no,
Right.
we don't get anything?
I know.
To now,
Yeah.
I'm assuming this is a question later on in the,
What I can do is we can incorporate that into the student focus
So that's
group, and we can ask them that as a follow-up question. We're trying to keep the focus group questions the same, so we have ways to compare the different ones, but it can't hurt to ask them that question.
Well, and the degree of course difficulty reasonable, does that mean that it's not encouraging them to cheat? I didn't know how to interpret that one. Does it mean that they are able to understand the course content
So they
so
don't.
they're not tempted to cheat? I didn't really understand that one. The very last one, degree of
Okay.
course difficulty reasonable. How would you,
So
how?
if it's reasonable, then
Then they
why
wouldn't
cheat?
cheat. Yeah, yeah.
That's
I think that's the
exactly what I was
idea.
trying to figure out.
I think that's the idea. If it's
Yeah.
reasonable amount, then they won't cheat. But if it's not a reasonable, if it's unreasonable, then they will. I think that's what
I guess
they're
that's a good way
asking.
to look at that.
Yeah, that's what they're asking, I think.
Okay.
Okay.
One more thing.
Hmm? Sure.
Just to point out, because, we can sort of petition faculty a little bit, at least I have that. But the one that says faculty change exams and faculty is vigilant.
Mhm.
So our performance is pretty good there.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, next one. This is number 5. It doesn't have any data with it, all right?
Okay.
What motivates students to cheat? Are the sanctions strong enough to overcome the temptation to cheat and or plagiarize? Kind of like the question of capital punishment.
So is the next slide the data?
Mhm.
I put down, when I
No.
looked through these the first time, I put
Mhm.
down, it depends on the course that's being
Mhm.
taught. Because the
Okay.
sanctions are different everywhere.
Right.
And I think that there is some flexibility in what we do in our own courses.
Mhm.
Cheating in a lab, to me, is pretty serious.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and it depends on the discipline too.
Isn't it?
So, that's why, when I put down, I said it depends on the course. You
Mhm.
talked about father and daughter,
Right.
there's all these
Mhm.
instances where maybe we have to have some concept of what we do within
Mhm.
our own divisions.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. And it also depends upon the faculty too, because some faculty give more, I would say, busy work.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's busy work and it doesn't apply anywhere in the discipline for a grade, they're going to cheat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, we do address those problems with faculty that, why are you getting this? What's the meaning of this? You see,
Right,
so-
right. Yeah, there were some articles we read before last in spring that said that if you alienate your students, and don't treat them with respect, then more than likely they're going to cheat. Because they're just kind of like the same thing with a patient, the doctor-patient relationship. If the doctor's not good with people, there's more likely a tendency for them to get sued. Okay, because people won't forgive them. It's true. So that was something interesting to note too.
And didn't we kind of start with this on what motivates?
Yeah,
students to
you
cheat
had
when
you
we
had
did it
mentioned
at the
it.
very
You
beginning?
mentioned it at the
Okay.
before
Yeah,
when you were talking about your students.
Yeah, we talked about
Mhm.
time management, talking some
Right.
online.
Right.
And also the understanding of the material too. If this is taught and they don't understand it,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to cheat. And
Right.
particularly if they are asked the teacher, well, we don't understand that, and that teacher's not able to elaborate on that,
Mm-hmm.
then
Mm-hmm.
they're going to find other ways on how they're going to get the answer.
Right. Right. Sure.
Mhm.
Okay. How about you, Joseph?
I agree with that.
Okay. Yeah.
Especially the time management also sometimes if, let's say, they don't have the time to finish it up and but towards the end, they start copying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, this is a question for all of you. Do you find that a lot of the students really struggle with the leap from, if you look at Bloom's taxonomy, from the understanding to application?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, how do you get them beyond that?
It depends upon, knowledge levels more so the prerequisites
Mhm.
for when they actually get into their discipline
Mhm.
and the application of law.
Right.
You can't just read a book and understand it.
Right. Right.
And I think, some faculty say, well, they say we read why we
Mhm.
failed the test.
Right.
So basically,
Uh-huh.
so I have a different structure of actually, in order to get the students to read, because a lot of them don't read,
Mm-hmm.
is actually go over some parts of the actual content and then start talking about it.
Right.
And so to get them to actually look, I
Mhm.
might read a paragraph and say, now this is what this means, and give
Right.
an example. And
Sure.
so that's how application can more so come out, but because they don't know how to apply unless you teach them.
Right,
And I
right.
think they need more than one attempt at it as well.
Mhm.
We assume that they know how to do that, but the research tells us that 70% of public school teachers don't have them go above the
Right.
line level. And
Right.
it's not that they
Uh-huh.
don't try,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, we've taught, when we have that complete silence in our classrooms,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the teachers ask a higher level.
Right.
Let's say they ask a higher level question. There are two things that students do, and I tell my students, look for it in your other
Yeah.
classes. When we ask a higher level question, students either first look down,
Uh-huh.
don't call me, or the second thing that they do is they start looking through their book and they get the answers in there.
Uh-huh.
And it doesn't matter if I'm in kindergarten
Right,
or I'm
right.
at
Sure.
graduate level.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
still the exact same thing.
Right.
So if a teacher is uncomfortable with that wait time to
Mhm.
wait and let them go through that process, one of
Right.
the very first things that they do is they reword the question
Mhm.
so that now it's at a lower level so
Right.
that they can start raising their hands. And you see it in public school
Huh,
all
interesting.
the time.
Yeah.
Or they feel they don't have the time to lend to that because of the pressures of standardized
Mhm,
testing and that
mhm.
we've got to get to this, that they stop doing it. It's not
Right.
that they, and it takes, it's a learned process.
Mhm.
It's not something you pick up really
Right,
quick.
right,
And you've
sure.
got to learn that. And if you constantly are taking your higher level question or even an assignment,
Mm-hmm.
the kids didn't do well on the assignment, I'm not going to do it again. Well, maybe you just need to do it again.
Right, right.
That kind of stuff. And they don't do that, so we get students in
Mhm.
that haven't been exposed to it much. So
Right.
if you give them a higher level activity question, whatever it may be, you're not going
Mhm.
to get it in that very good. They're
Exactly.
gonna do it again.
Right. It's
And-
kind of like, that's, go ahead.
no, and that's just kind of
Mhm.
a process that happens, but, you know, we talk about that in our class. You don't, you guys as future teachers, you need to get over that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
just need to you need to go with that and you need
Right.
to keep asking questions
Right.
and see how often those things happen and be comfortable with that silence.
Mhm.
It's okay.
Now, what about the students that are good students in high school
Mm-hmm.
that still struggle with application? Do they have a resilience problem? You know, as far as they kind of go, hey, I used to be an A student and I didn't struggle in high school. This is hard. Do you find a lot of them are like, I give up or I
Well,
quit?
I can attest that with my daughters at
Mhm.
UT. She's
Mhm.
4.8 on a 5.0 scale.
Right.
And she didn't really have to study.
Mhm.
You know, but in school,
Exactly.
she made a C, and it was
Mhm.
like a eye-opening
Yeah.
experience.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
I said, because she thought that, oh, you know, I got this. I said, this is a different ballgame.
Right,
But
right.
when students think they know a lot,
Mhm.
they think they have to experiencing it first.
Right.
And now she said, I know I have to study. Exactly.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's a connection there, but
Right.
then faculty certainly needs to help them to apply.
Right,
And that's
right.
the hard thing. And
Mhm.
if faculty goes in there and they don't understand it,
Right,
then we have a
right.
problem.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Mhm.
And that does happen sometimes.
Right, and there's a good process that the English faculty do, and that's where they have, you know, they have them go through a rough draft, and then they
Right,
go
right.
through the final draft. Do your disciplines do something similar, where they kind of go through a gradual process to?
I think one thing that would be good for professional development
Mhm.
is for us to address this, because
Yeah.
one of the things
Mhm.
that we all have our own little toolbox, but several years ago, there was a professional development here on campus, and the presenter presented the concept of SEEI,
Mhm.
that I use it
I
all the
love it, I
time.
love it.
So SEEI
Uh-huh.
is state the definition,
Mhm.
E is put it in your own words. Another E, give me an example of it.
Right.
Now there's the application,
Mhm.
and then I would be illustrating.
Illustrating, yeah.
And
Give it an
just
analogy.
That little
Mhm.
activity alone
Oh yeah.
really makes them start thinking higher that you can lead that. But there may be things like that that we should be
Mhm.
sharing with one another.
Exactly.
Because that isn't something that I knew,
Mhm,
you know?
mhm.
So it made it easier for me to get to that step where now we have to think a little bit longer.
Exactly.
They get stuck
And
in
they
certain
have trouble,
places.
they have
Yeah.
trouble
Right,
at
yeah.
the first, they're
Right,
like.
and the more you do it,
Mhm.
then they.
Right.
So I mean, I think that leads to, you
Mhm.
know, understanding that if you think it better, then you understand better.
Right.
You don't need to cheat.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, those are
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Right. Right.
And also using a case study after the information to give in the
Mhm.
case study as the question.
Yes, I had to
And also
apply
has
it.
to
Uh-huh.
apply it, yes.
I like
And
that.
I do that at the end of the semester if
Mhm.
I'm over a course.
Mhm.
And then they already were taught it. Then
Right,
they have to apply before they go into the final exam.
right. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it still was great too.
See, this one elicited a lot of good ideas and we didn't have any data. And I'm kind of happy. I'm kind of happy about that. Okay. Number 20. Are the sanctions that Lee College have too strong or not strong enough? Are the sanctions flexible enough or too flexible? And these are faculty versus national faculty on what they use for sanctions. Now, ours is F in the assignment and then F in the course. So, if every division is doing something different, does that mean that What's that?
DOS?
Yes.
Is that it?
I think that's like referring them to the department or just referring them up above. I don't know what that. They didn't even explain what DOS was.
There's a 1% who do nothing.
I know. So that's number 6.
Yes.
So, and you don't even have to look at this data. The question would be what, if a student, if different disciplines are implementing it and enforcing it differently, then does it need to be more flexible? I mean, I think that
Is the blue the students? or-
it's faculty.
Faculty, okay.
Lee College faculty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
National.
Yeah. Because it's like, if it was me, I'd say, well, if I knew what the penalties were, wouldn't you put 0 except for except for what the college asked for?
Yes.
Hmm?
We're kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
And so I think
I think this kind of shows.
Test is 29, even though that's what the Lee College sanction has.
Is it F, yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, only
More
4%. I think it shows they
Just
don't.
give us an idea of what they do.
right,
Right.
yeah.
Right, right.
Right, and I think what it says is we really don't want to give them F in the course.
Right.
If possible.
Right.
So, that's why I looked at it, they get an F on the assignment, because that's the highest one of all of them, if you look at just the
Right.
box. And a warning, pretty strong warning.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then some will redo the assignment, and some won't let them, apparently. But we didn't want to fail them. That's kind of what I thought.
Well, and also this question didn't ask for the second,
Right.
that this was the second time it happened.
Right.
No, that's true.
So we can't really factor in F in the course for that because this is assuming it's the first time.
And also we need to see, is the policy state is a warning the first time and an F the second time?
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's just an
It does.
F?
It does.
It does, a
Yeah.
warning the first
Mhm.
time?
Oh no, it says
just
it
an
says
F, like
you
the
get an F.
First time
First time is failing
on
grade on the
college.
assignment,
Mm-hmm.
and second time is failing grade in the course.
See, and I think there's the warning that comes in before that.
Okay, yes.
Before you
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's what I was.
Right,
That's the way I
right.
looked at it. It was
Yeah.
like, we didn't want failing.
No.
So there's
Uh-huh.
a real strong warning.
Right, right.
And that depends upon the beliefs of some faculty members,
Right.
because some of them are very nice,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to say the least.
Well, I don't want to fail, Stu, if I can.
Yeah, if you can avoid it. Yeah. So that's what I meant by being flexible. Do we want to do it as a gradual educational experience, like the English faculty do with teaching people? You got to do a rough draft, or do you want to do it gradually, or you just go rigid?
I think there's suggestions that could be made, but I think each division will design their course of action.
Mhm.
And each faculty member will have some latitude, I think you have to, because of the course, you
Mhm.
know? I mean, what would be one class that they take here that's maybe offered once a semester and they have to get through it for an engineering degree or emphasis? What would that be, Tom?
Could be almost every course.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
You know,
So
something
see,
like
that's-
that.
Technical course.
I mean, yeah, but the point is, you know, you want to do everything you can to let them know it's just not acceptable, or we're going to fail you, because
Mhm.
that's huge. And I know nursing, I don't want them to
Mhm.
make a mistake in
That's
nursing.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Uh,
But
Uh-huh.
it has to be clearly stated because, you know, the other students get wind of it and then we have a big
Right,
situation.
yeah, so it becomes systemic.
But
Well,
that faculty has to probably need to meet with the whole faculty, and I think a group decision has to be
Mhm,
made based
mhm.
on that as well, and not just do one thing on their own.
So
That's
Tom, in the
another
science area, I'm just trying to get another perspective here. If cheating is something that's happened in the class, is it shared with other instructors? So that this person who may be in other classes, is that something that we even want to go to?
Not like what Janice was talking about,
Yeah.
when they make a departmental type decision.
Yeah.
And so,
Mhm.
it depends on how embarrassed that faculty
I
member is.
gotcha.
Sometimes they
Mhm.
only talk to the division chair.
Okay,
Right.
Many times they will talk to their fellow colleagues in that particular department.
okay, that's good to know.
And, you know, there's another thing here, when it says you're assigned an F on a test or assignment, a lot of the faculty in our area assign a 0.
Mhm. That's a big difference.
Yeah, that's what we do.
That's a big
zero.
difference.
It's not an
Uh-huh.
F, it's a zero.
Yeah.
It's a very severe,
Yeah.
F average is
Yeah.
like a 50.
Uh-huh.
It's a
Pull up
zero.
that, it's
Yeah.
hard to pull up a 0.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
See, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's really huge.
What we do, we give a
Mhm.
0.
Yeah, we give
Mhm.
a zero.
So, you're right.
Right.
That would be very different. That- I
Mhm.
mean, that's why, hopefully you won't fail a course, because that's a huge warning. That's zero.
Yes.
Well, another question is if, could it work that every division has their own standards and measures, and then it might get confusing, but every division would be responsible for communicating it.
See, that,
But, or what, how would we?
Probably should be yes, but
Uh-huh.
one of the problems that we have, one of the things that our students know is that they know different
Yeah.
areas do things differently.
Mhm.
And so if they try to carry that from that area to the next discipline.
Right,
And
right.
so whereas you may be able
Mhm.
to do certain things in certain course, when you get to these nursing courses where they're very
Right.
strict, as they should be,
Mhm.
then it takes them a while to readjust.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because they're thinking, oh, well, the rule is that we can do this. It's the same rules they bring from, you know, whatever previous education we had to our classes. They think, well, we can do this because we've always done this. Well, no, not necessarily. And so somebody has to look at that and make sure that the divisions overall are not doing something so lax as to hurt
Mhm.
the student when they take courses in other divisions.
Right.
Right.
That's the same thing as the drop date too.
So that's
Yeah, they- sometimes students say, well, that professor, they went above the drop date and dropped it, so. it's true.
And then, yeah, and it's very different, because if it's an assignment in my class, then it's a 0. But then we have a whole other side of doing the observations, and that's where we've caught cheating, because
Mhm.
when they go observe, they get evaluated by the teacher, and that evaluation is mailed back. And some students we have caught
Mhm.
actually filled out the evaluation,
Mhm.
signed
Oh,
the teacher's
yeah.
name,
Oh,
and then
brother.
that's
Uh-huh.
forgery, that's an automatic, you're out of the program.
Mhm.
Yes.
But it's still part of the course. I mean, they're required, the state requires those 16 hours.
Right.
So they can have an A in the course,
Mhm.
but if they don't have 16 hours, it's an F in
Mhm.
the course because of that state requirement. So it depends on
Right,
Yes.
what are you cheating
right,
on
Right.
as well. Because when you're messing with the state and you're doing that, that's completely.
because one thing is that since it's just a broad policy, do the divisions take ownership over it?
Well, we
Probably,
haven't yet because.
probably
it
not,
was
because it's so broad. But if it was something that we said, oh, this is how our division is going to deal with it, then maybe they take ownership of it and maybe communicate it better. I don't know.
It sounds like Genesis Division is taking ownership of it.
Right.
I would
Yeah.
claim our division is not.
Mhm.
I don't think we are.
But I wouldn't say it's consistent.
Mhm.
And again, I'm looking at, we have a lot of part-time teachers, and again, with clinicals, you see, that's another situation, depends on, and they have clinical paperwork. So it depends on if that teacher really knows the patient that they've had, or they're just putting a check. Because we see them when they go from one situation to the next clinical, they look like they need to be back at level 1, because they don't understand how to even assess a patient.
Mhm.
So there's a little leery way there. Do you give that student a chance by actually teaching them
Mhm.
appropriately and then see how well they learn? Because I've had to do that many times.
Right,
But again,
right.
that's clinical though.
Mhm.
So are we looking at clinical paperwork, or are we looking at theory?
Mhm. Right.
And it could be the theory thing that we really have to manage.
Okay. All right, next one is, this is question number 7. More on sanctions. What type of sanctions not already in the policy would work to prevent more incidents of cheating or plagiarizing? This is just no data, just think, you're thinking out loud. Right now, it's the two sanctions are F and, huh?
So I don't like the second one at all.
You don't like the, personally don't like the second one?
The signing and honesty stuff.
The reason that came up is I believe that at other institutions, Dr. Wilcox said that there was a signed form by students. That she,
Right.
at an institution she was at, students signed it.
Yeah, I had an adjunct faculty that also taught at Clear Lake that had them signing on the academic honor.
And she,
Yeah.
that's why it came up.
Because
That's why-
then you can't, the student can't come back and say, well, I didn't know.
Right.
It's basically saying you're writing a contract that what I'm submitting here, I'm acknowledging that I have not cheated.
Either Dr. J has something to
He used to do that. He used to do that when he first started. Yeah.
he said he
We
did
have
that all the
something similar
time
to that as well.
in his class.
When they
Does
first
it-
come in.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
But this is for like every assignment. They're
No,
talking
not
about
for
that.
every When they first come in,
Uh-huh.
yes.
Think that's overkill, Tom?
I think it probably is. You could probably have just a general
Right.
statement for the course or something if you wanted to.
What do you think, Joseph?
That's in the CAD department. It used to be
Mhm.
there was like a student agreement.
Right.
And it's like so many pages of this one. It's not only cheating, but
Mhm.
everything. Go cheating. There's a
Right.
strike 1, strike 2, strike 3,
Mhm,
something
mhm.
like that.
Like a contract
Yeah, a
then.
contract.
Yeah.
Contract.
Well, that's an idea. That's an
There used
idea.
to be,
Mhm.
one like that, but I believe it used to be in Blackboard.
Mm-hmm.
That would be maybe I would probably thinking before student get into a course, there'd be like a statement we're in. Okay, you have to agree on this one, and that before proceeding this course and this
Right.
one and that, and
Right.
it would be in the system.
That was
Mm-hmm.
what we talked about, having a blackboard.
Yeah, in Blackboard for that
Right.
first day of class.
Right. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with first day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See
Exactly.
every assignment.
Assignment.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of overkill. But
Yes.
okay.
Well, I can see it more like in the technical areas, but like in
Mhm.
writing, I
Right.
think maybe that kind of statement might bring up more questions than
Yeah.
answers.
Uh-huh. Sometimes you have to be careful. You want to prevent something, but you give them an idea they never thought of. My dad was good at that. He would say, whatever you do, don't. There was charcoal that he was going to grill out. Whatever you do, don't take that charcoal and draw on the sidewalk. I was like, that's a great idea. Don't give anyone any ideas.
Before you go on, Paul,
Yeah.
first, back to the, I didn't mean to divert us to the second one.
Mm-hmm.
But the first one, I don't think it was a sanction, but one of the things that we had discussed or briefly mentioned earlier was that faculty probably should be more specific in covering what the academic integrity policy is
Mm-hmm.
during their first day class or whenever it's appropriate for that
Mhm.
particular class.
Educating.
And it's not a sanction, but it's it's an information
Right.
but it needs to be done specifically, not just,
Right.
there's a statement in your syllabus that you're supposed to read,
Right.
but you're not going to
yeah.
discuss it at all, ever.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And that's another thing is, I forgot what I was going to say. I'll come back. It'll come back to me.
Well, my first assignment in Comp 1 is we write a paper about plagiarism. We read articles,
Mhm.
we summarize them.
Exactly.
And then we write a paper about it.
Mhm.
So that from the get-go,
Oh, yeah.
they're like, oh, wow, okay.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yeah, it probably enlightens them quite a bit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then what you need to do is tell them they need to carry that to all their other courses.
Mhm,
Uh-huh.
It's not just Comp 1.
Well, another idea would what about teaching students academic integrity in the LSSS class and the E EDUC 1200?
For sure.
You know,
Yeah.
so then they're not a first year experience yet, but a lot of students do take it.
Yeah, they do.
So
The orientation to the school
and
itself.
I think they cover it. I think,
Oh.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But it went
How about the freshman follow-up?
Yeah.
fast.
I don't know.
But-
That-
I have no
yeah.
idea.
That's what I was
Or
saying.
it's,
I have no
everything
idea.
trying to push in,
Yeah.
just like a short little, not much time.
Okay, this one is, what does the data tell us about our prevention or enforcement techniques? Some of this data I just pulled the same chart.
The students have a different perception of likely.
Mm-hmm.
What is cheating? Go back.
Yeah, because they may not even know exactly. You know,
What
they know what
is
cheating
considered
is,
cheating?
but
You know,
huh?
what does a
Yeah.
student consider cheating?
Mm.
It would be interesting to ask a faculty member to define cheating and a student to define
Uh-huh,
cheating.
uh-huh.
And that would, the focus group for the students, it would be interesting to
Yeah,
to hear
it
what
would.
they say.
Mm-hmm.
It would.
But, you know, this slide does sort of speak to that there's a need to educate both faculty and
Yeah.
students.
Mhm.
Yes,
Right.
I agree.
Okay.
Because there's a clear difference in opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Excellent. Okay. Again, what does the data tell us about our prevention or enforcement techniques? How frequently do you think the following occur on campus? This is Lee College student versus national student. Again, ignore the national and just look at the blue.
Because I don't think a lot of, that it's a serious cheating problem, students.
Mm-hmm.
21% get
Right.
lost on tests, plagiarism. The numbers are high.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, what do you think about plagiarism? Do you think students understand plagiarism?
The ones that you
Hmm.
surveyed,
Yeah.
many.
They
the
might.
dealing
Uh-huh,
with the
uh-huh.
hierarchy.
Right.
They have to understand that it's plagiarism, not citing
Mm-hmm.
someone else's work. That's the other thing. Do you
Mhm.
understand that that's the same?
Right.
You know?
And a lot of students don't know that if you take someone's idea, that you even have to cite.
Exactly.
They still think 21% is a serious, only 21% believe it's a serious problem of cheating.
And I don't think that's
Without
it's not
21
asking about. It's asking about how frequently do you think the following
Right, but if
occur.
they think this happens frequently on the slides before, it's
Mhm.
only how
Yeah.
serious do you think, how serious of a problem you think cheating is on our campus?
Mhm.
It's
It was 21. You're right.
That's
Yeah.
low.
Yeah.
You're right.
And here, it's so.
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Well, let's
I
check.
assume there's a lot of cheating going on, huh?
Yeah.
They don't think it's a serious problem.
Exactly.
So,
And I put this one as agree and strongly agree.
hmm.
That is unusual. I'll have to go back and check the data. because it might be an anomaly. There was a data chart that was totally off. Our students were 10%. The national students were like 70%. Went back to the data, I counted it wrong. So you have to go, I always have to check, double check. Okay. Next one, we're almost done. There's another one about, I'm going to skip these so we can get to some of these others. So what is this telling us about prevention or enforcement techniques? And let me go over this way. It's kind of hard to get it all in it. Again, never mind.
So what data is that?
This is number 3 of 8.
So you skipped 2?
Yeah, we did.
Lead time is going to be a national copy electronically, a number of students, dot. So it's going to even.
Maybe the data doesn't match the 11% because they had to break it down in their head to think, oh, that would be cheating if I copy from electronic sources. And they're thinking, oh, no, we don't cheat here.
Yeah.
They had to break it down specific.
Mm-hmm. Anything else on this one?
In reference of using a false excuse, you know, if they're sick, they have to bring a doctor's excuse.
Right.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
that's really the only other thing.
I'm kind of glad they haven't learned other ways of cheating on tests.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
national-
Is that a-
Right.
They got, here are the basics, so
Right,
at least,
right.
you know, I know the basics. There's not something, you know, new or out there that I now need to be aware of, but they don't.
We don't even allow them to wear watches in the class because there's so many different
I'm gonna assume they're cheating.
technology. Yeah.
Their cheating
Brand
techniques
makes,
are still basic.
Brand makes his males, if they're wearing a baseball cap,
Yes.
around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't allow them to wear, or even glasses.
Mhm.
Yes, and sometimes they're actual glasses that can.
That's always love my understanding.
That's the last one we're going to cover this morning.
And this is student versus faculty opinion.
Mhm.
This is student versus faculty. And the question that we're asking is, do faculty members of Lee College take responsibility for teaching academic integrity?
I don't understand the slide.
Right.
Yeah.
When I read the heading, it says, when do you discuss policies concerning?
Uh-huh.
And all the data sort of implies their opinion about something and nothing about discussing policies concerning.
Well, I take it as that,
Uh,
are these discussed in?
Yeah, right, in class.
Yeah.
You do
Uh-huh.
discuss.
And it seems
Mhm.
that the
Makes sense.
students are
Feel
saying,
that in the
yes,
fact
Yeah.
yes, no, we're
Yeah.
not.
Yes.
Which to me is
Crazy.
contradicting.
It is.
Sure is.
it almost is, you know, I looked at that too, and I thought, all right, the students feel like there is information that's being covered,
Mm-hmm.
and the faculty at Lee College don't think there's a consensus of faculty doing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I look at, it's like some do
That's
and
what it
some
would
don't.
apply,
And
exactly.
that really threw me, because I was like, why don't we all do that? Why would I think that?
And I know plagiarism is the highest with faculty as well, which is,
Yeah.
that's a topic discussed commonly
Mhm,
on campus,
mhm.
across
Yeah,
the area.
the faculty response doesn't make any sense.
Right,
Mhm.
right. That's what I thought when I looked at it. I was like, I've gone through that. I can't believe that we think our other colleagues don't do this.
Yeah.
That threw me.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have anything to do with team teaching? Because we have different teachers in, you know, in one course.
Yeah, possibly,
That
but
comes in, you know.
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, I couldn't give this, I put down not reliable
Mm-hmm.
information.
Oh,
Well, and I wonder if some faculty think this is already coming from somebody else.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't really need to spend time going over academic integrity, what in plagiarism, what you should do on a lab
Mhm.
paper as far as.
Because
making sure-
students should just know this.
Yeah.
They should already know this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the student score so high could be due to their ignorance. You know, sometimes people who are ignorant are 10 times more confident in what they believe, but yet don't know
What they don't
everything
know.
that they don't know.
Right.
Right. Whereas the faculty do know a lot more, and yeah, so that could be part of it too. Okay. All right. We didn't get to plagiarism, but we'll do that another time. Well, actually, we won't. So, thank you so much for coming and sharing your thoughts and opinions with us. If you'd like to be even more active participant in this initiative, let me know. We'll get you on the task force. We will send you a report of the results of this focus group and any actions that take place as a result, so you don't feel like your time's being wasted. Okay? This data will be used to determine if any changes will be made to the academic integrity policy, disciplinary process, sanctions, and or educational services. The summary report will be run by you individually. So we'll send you what we thought we heard, but we'll send it to you individually for you to edit. But nothing like the congressional record where you can just make things up like the congressman can. And I didn't say that, I said this. And so we will send you the summary report, the full one, by the end of August 31st. And remember that this is all confidential. So what's said here stays here. Okay?
Okay.
That's it. All right, grab some
Now,
snacks.
Now, if I wanted to talk to someone in this room about something.
Oh, sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you guys are in. You guys are in the in group. All
It's
right.
about time I finally get the in group.
That's right. Yeah.
It's been a long time.